So one of the things I learned last year in therapy is to be wary of people who blame all the problems that they have on communication. Like, don't get me wrong, communication issues are real, and knowing how to communicate with your friends and loved ones is important. But let's say that you try to set a boundary with someone. Someone did something that hurt you, and you're like, this isn't cool, and you're like, okay, here's the boundary, don't do that again. If their response is then, oh, we need to communicate better, because if we communicated better, I wouldn't have done that, and that keeps being their excuse if it happens over and over again, that's a red flag, for two reasons. First of all, it allows them to deflect from taking personal responsibility in crossing this boundary. They didn't do something wrong, there was simply a miscommunication. And the problem with that is that they don't internalize that their behavior has to change. Secondly, it offloads some of the labor, including emotional labor, back onto you. If you set a boundary and say, this behavior has to change, and they say it's because of communication, the implication in that is you communicated poorly, so you have to do better so that they don't cross the boundary again. And what's missed in that conversation is the point of boundary setting is to make it clear what is okay and what is not okay. You shouldn't have to change the way you talk to constantly remind someone to respect your boundaries. They should be respected because they're your boundaries. So just be wary of that when you're trying to set boundaries with people. People who fall back onto this excuse aren't necessarily bad people, but it is a dysfunctional way to resolve disputes when it comes to setting boundaries. And sometimes you just have to confront them and say, no, the problem isn't communication, the problem is behavior. And if you respect my boundaries, you will no longer engage in the behavior that crosses them.